Worldwide weather extremes have been in the news lately, what with heat and wildfires in Russia and flooding in Pakistan. Meanwhile, in this country, a record of a different sort was set about 3 weeks ago during a severe thunderstorm on the northern plains. Now, about 30 miles south of Pierre, the capital of South Dakota, sits the tiny community of Vivian, population 110. On July 23rd, after a particularly nasty thunderstorm, a rancher there recovered what is now officially the largest hailstone on record in the U.S. It weighs 1 pound 15 ounces, besting the previous mark of 1 pound 11 ounces for a hailstone that fell in Kansas in 1970. The Vivian hailstone also set a record for diameter, 8 inches. The old mark was 7 for a stone that fell in Nebraska in 2003. The new record hailstone fell as part of a barrage that left huge divots in the ground and damaged all of Vivian's 55 homes. Once National Weather Service personnel got the stone, it was packed in dry ice and sent on a 500-mile, 4-state relay. The final destination was the National Center for Atmospheric Research in Boulder, Colorado, and the cold laboratory of hail expert Dr. Charles Knight, no relation to our own Paul Knight. Now, for a thunderstorm to produce such extreme hail, you need very powerful currents of rising air to keep the stones suspended for a long time. In this case, those updrafts almost certainly exceeded 100 miles per hour. Also, the level at which the temperature drops to freezing has to be fairly low so that most of the thunderstorm's moisture is in a part of the cloud that's conducive for ice to form. Here's a look at the supercell thunderstorm that produced the record hail. The lower part of these long-lived rotating storms often resembles an upside-down layer cake, and the striations certainly give the impression of rotation. Indeed, rotation tends to enhance the strength of the updraft, keeping hailstones wallowing in the cold, moist innards of the cloud. Now here's the radar image of the thunderstorm that produced the record hail. The high reflectivity values indicated here by the pink are typical for hail, but there's a second, more subtle signature here that means really big hail. It's this little tail sticking out of the thunderstorm on the opposite side from the radar, which here is located on the upper right. This is called a flare echo or hail spike. And what happens is big hail is so good at intercepting the radar beam that some of the energy gets scattered to the ground, comes back to the hail, and then returns to the radar. This extra travel distance between the cloud and the ground means that some of the energy takes a little longer to return to the radar. And this fools the radar into thinking that there's precipitation falling farther away, just beyond where the hail is. Now, because of their accuracy in detecting hail in the cumulonimbus cloud, these flare echoes are used operationally by the National Weather Service to issue warnings on thunderstorms that could potentially drop very large damaging hail, and that was the case for the Vivian hailstone. Fred is back with the extended forecast next.